Welcome back. Right, bulkhead. That's what we're concentrating today. Sunday, Father's Day, and I'm in the shed because every other bugger's buggered off. So, I got my wood that I purchased from B&Q. I know, probably the wrong place to be buying wood. They don't have the best, anyway, they don't have the best reputation for wood. It tends to warp, and lo and behold, that's exactly what's happened. I got it dry, it had been treated, and it had been kiln dried, but it was only at, 15% moisture when I checked it. I got a little device, see. Now I've got it down to between 6 and 9, depending on which board you test. The 6 is fine, the 9 is still a fraction a little bit too high. Anyway, there it all is. There's some of it that's already done. Cocked that one up. And the reason why I cocked it up... Hello. Right, I'm at the boat today. Did some work over the week, as you all know. Came up here the other day. I put 2 boards in. It was so hot, I only lasted an hour. Blasted heat stroke. It was puking up everywhere. So I had to pack it in, and the weather is a lot better for working in than what it was the other day. I can't do heat. Terrible. So let me show you what I've done. Well, so far we've got those fitted. Those boards will eventually, I mean, they're being glued and screwed to the top. The screws will get removed, countersunk, and then put back once I put a curve in up there. But what I'm contemplating is a piece of trim that I can glass round in order to get some curvature for the chop strand to bend round properly. So that's something I shall look at later. Even if it's just a piece of plastic pipe with car filler wrapped around it, it will be something, because by the time all of the resin has gone on and gone off, that will be rock solid, and you won't need to worry about any polyurethane breaking. So the small ones you saw have got to go there. That's going to be my entry. I've got to cut a hole in at a later date at the top, but we're not going to put a massive hole. I've kind of been contemplating about this. Do I put a sliding hatch in? Do I put a doorway in? Do I put a flip down in a doorway in? I kind of decided it's going to be a complete door. So the wood this side, it's going to be a little bit, the doorway might end up being a little wider this end, so as I can angle off and have the door open wider, so it ain't so much of a problem. So we're going to finish off over there first, get the last of that in, and trim up all that fiberglass that's been put in place, and we'll go from there. Really, once we've got that bit in, we'll then put that piece in, the door entrance in, and then we'll build off from this side up, and then we'll fill this piece here in, bearing in mind there is a bunk down here that we've got to think about. Okay, so that's the outside edge. That area is really bad. Didn't get the joints as good as I could have done. Got a bit lazy. It's hot. Even though the temperature's dropped rapidly now, it's still really hot. So it's kind of, it is what it is, the old saying that you hear frequently. So next is to do what I did there, and that's to run up car filler all the way along that. That's already been resin, soaked in resin. I could do with doing the inserts here, but you know. So do I go home? Do I fill it now? I'll tell you what I do need to do. There is a bead to go on top, but that ain't going to work on top, so it's going to have to go along that lip there. So it's going to have to be a little peak stick out, I think. So I will go home. Please bear in mind that we've got to clear the glue. So there we go. At the moment, it's nothing special. Well, it's been a few days since I've done any filming. I kind of felt it wasn't really going as well as it could. So I thought I'd sod it, I'd put camera down and just get on with it. Anyway, that is what I've done so far. So we've taken the old framework from the Audacity and let me see if I can get a better angle. And we've shaped it, we've filled it, we've laid it, and now we've just got to sand it one more time just to get it a bit smoother. There's going to be several more layers go on here, but we're going to build them up as we work our way up that slope. So I've got to sand the top down, and then I've got to sand the inside edge where I cut all the fiberglass. And I would say, looking at that there, because we got thin as we worked our way to the end, I'd say the thickness is already there. So it's kind of made me have to rethink things. Let me just bung this down a minute. Ouch. So this thing is exhausting. Creep round. There we go, filled, sanded, best of I can get anyway. Why have I done that? Is I was trying to get it as smooth as I can. I'm never going to get it perfect because the filler's shrinking, or the wood is shrinking and the filler is dipping. I don't know which of the two, but I took it as far as I can take it today. So tomorrow I'm going to come in with a truck and not the bike. We're going to finish the woodwork off over there. One long piece to go in there, and then some shorter ones which will come just below that point there. And then what I want to do is measure off where this is to relation to that and to this area here and to there, and then put a beam right the way across the whole thing, because then that first seat which is going to get built can go straight onto there, and I want some steps in the middle, but I haven't made my mind up yet how far down those steps are going to go. We are going to have an access point here in the middle for the prop and all the engine area, but the rest of it is going to be pretty well closed off, I think. We've got this to deal with, the rudder. I'm probably going to have to drop that out completely and rethink whether that goes back or not. I don't know. I really genuinely don't know on that one. It's as stiff as an old board, and well, I don't like the way it's been put on anyway. Looks like that's about ready. Waiting for my mate Adam, but he's not turned up yet. Look at that. Tyler's out today. Right, update. Apart from a few bits of wood I've got to now put on, we're ready to start glass fibering. So we've got that last piece done. Just got to fill. I put it on wrong, see, flush with that one. I went under with that one, so I've cut under there. I'm going to pull that back, take the screws out there, pull that back, and we should be good to go. So what I've got to think about now is a frame for the floors, which would sit about there. Whether they came out wider for a shelf, I don't know. So I've got to get a batten made to go across, but I'm going to raise the height of that a little bit. So instead of it being level with that, I'm going to put a piece of glassed up ply along there with a 2x4 going across the ply, just to give it a bit more wide angle, and there'll be a beam run across the bottom, likewise that way and likewise that way, and then there'll be plywood forms put in, which I'll be tearing out after, and glass fibering that all into the hull solidly. But for now we've sanded back the hatch, so that's there now. So we've just got a little bit more to do, and then we can put some filler in there, and then we'll put a last bit of woven on just to get a bit more smoothness and strength, and we can then gel coat if that's what we choose to do. But before I do that, I've got to get a sander of some description and tear off all that grip that's been moulded in, because it's in my way now. I said this was going to be it, but it isn't. So Here we go. I have started the fiberglassing, and I picked rather a hot day to do it in. This is what my plan is. I just got to do the middle bit, which I'll do tomorrow. I'm done today. I've flipping had enough now. Tomorrow I'll do that middle bit where the door is. I'll do underneath as well and join all that bottom piece in. Then I'll cut some woven rovings and I'll go over the wooden frames, all of them, and I'll join them in. As close as I can get them anyway to being reasonably decent. And obviously we've got to do a little sand down. I think after that we might put a whole load of roving over the top of this just to try and get it a bit smoother, and then I think after that we'll buy a can of filler, preferably epoxy filler. I don't know if that's such a hot idea, actually thinking about it. No, we won't. We'll use random automotive filler, and the reason for that is I know that the fiberglass resin, this particular resin, will stick to it, whereas epoxy fillers and epoxy stuff, fiberglass or GRP don't like it unless there's a certain type like West Systems, and well, I don't even like using the stuff at the best of time anyway, so no, we will use yesterday's work down. We've now got to fill in the middle bit, and then cut my woven out and go around all my battens and the door edges so we can seal up all that wood, and then we need to do a quick sand down when that's dry. Me far longer than I anticipated, partly because of the heat, but the heat has actually quietened down a bit now. That's not as bad as it was. So they're now capsulated with some thicker material, but I couldn't get that woven roving to bend and hold its shape. So in the end I had to do it in two halves, and we've just got to run a piece through the middle now, which will be chopped strand, and that will join that in. The hatchway, they're done. The bottom is yet to be done, but I'm still half debating whether to make that bigger. That's not square. I don't know why I went wrong, but that beam at the bottom is not square to anything, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. So, well, I should sand that down really, so I could class that part as finished, but it isn't really finished because I've still got to come down again and do under those top bars each side, and then I've got to sand all the gel coat back and the wood at the bottom, and then bind all of that together as one. Then sand the curves down each side, and then I've got to take out the gel coat possibly on the front of the boat, of the roof. However, I've been thinking about that one. Actually, there's no however about it. I've got to do it. I was thinking that maybe if I put a bead across it, but I can't. It ain't gonna work. I've got to blend it all in as one. You can't fiberglass on top of gel coat. It won't stick. The gel coat is just the wrong thing to glass to. So I've got to clear it. I ain't got any choice. There's 4 layers of 350 or 450, but it might be 450 I've got actually. I think there's about 4 layers of 450 underneath all that lot, plus, and I've forgotten what that weight is of that woven roving, but it's got chopped strand on it as well, plus that as well, but I can't remember what it was I damn bought. I've forgotten. 600, 700, 800, I can't remember. I took a lot of resin, I know that. So yeah, we've got that part of it done. So what's next? Well, I've got to fill in the bottom pieces each side, as I said, and then we've got to address the base, and then we can look at getting the hatches built if we haven't already started clearing the gel coat. So the weekend is now here. I don't think I'll be down this weekend. I've got other things that I have to get on with. So I think we'll call it on this video, finally. So with all of that being said, tune in to the next one. It's coming along quite nicely, and if you're wondering what the battens are for, that's for the benches each side of the boat that are going to go in. There's one batten now on that moulding, and when I build the lockers they will go straight across. You can see where the kid has hacked everything out and destroyed everything really. what a waste of a boat, really, wasn't it? Well, let's see if we can't pull it back. I haven't done too great on the woodwork, but some of it doesn't matter because of, you know, the fiberglass on the outside, if strong enough, will hold it back. So it's more decorative than it is strength. Just needed a backer, and I've certainly got that. So right, that's it, we're done. See you next time. Bye bye.